Black Desert Online is one of the most exciting and complex sandbox MMOs to come out in a very long time. But it's not without its issues. If you're like me, you may have found yourself scratching your head in the beginning, unsure of what to do and frustrated because there are so few guides and tutorials. Hey guys, I'm Morphologist, and in this video, I'm going to help you solve that problem by giving you 10 quick tips on how you can get started in Black Desert Online. Number 10. Increase your field of view. Now this is the only tech tip I'm going to give you that has to do with the game's graphical settings, but I feel it's an important one because by default it's pretty narrow, and setting it to a wider angle gives you a better idea of your surroundings, increasing your situational awareness, and it helps with the experience of the game. To change it, simply hit the escape button, go into your settings and go under the video tab. Once there, scroll down until you find the adjust visual range. That actually has to do with your field of view, and slide the slider all the way to the right to 70. Unfortunately, this is the current max and I haven't played with the INI file to see if I can get it any wider, but for now just set it to there and I promise things will look better. Tip number 9. Familiarize yourself with your skills key bindings. In Black Desert Online, virtually all of your combat abilities are bound to a sequence of keys. By learning these key combinations earlier in the game, you're setting yourself up to be able to perform better in PvP and PvE, doing more DPS in a shorter amount of time. This can help you kill another player faster as well as kill mobs much more quickly, increasing your efficiency. Finally, this leaves open your hotbar for doing potions and buffs. Trust me, it's important. Each class has its own set of skills, so the key combinations will vary from class to class. To check to see what skills you have and what key combinations you need to do to activate them, you can check by hitting the K menu. Move your mouse over the skill that you're interested in and read the description. In there you'll find what keys you have to press in what sequence to get that skill to work. You'll also find by knowing these key combinations, you'll be able to hit those combos much more quickly. Tip number 8. Familiarize yourself with the node system in Black Desert Online. To explain nodes briefly, nodes are a mechanic of BDO that are integral to pretty much every aspect of gameplay, whether you think of yourself as a PvP or a PvE player. Nodes represent a location or a region that a player can invest in to allow them to either trade items or gather resources. Now you may be thinking to yourself right now, I'm not interested at all in that aspect of the game. I don't want to become a trader by profession, and that's fine. However, when I talk about trading, I mean using the trading NPC, which you will have to use in a lot of situations, especially for those quests that give you stuff like bronze or gold coins, or even professions such as fishing, which give you fish, and you need to sell those actually to a trade vendor unless you're going to use them for cooking. Investing in nodes also increases the drop rate for that area, and it will also increase your returns when you sell trade items at vendors without a connected network. And that even means if you're grinding an area that you don't own a node in, you're only going to be able to sell those items for 30% of their initial worth. That means a major loss for you. You're not going to be making as much money as you could. And believe me, money is important in Black Desert Online. To activate a node, you simply have to go and find the node manager of that respective location. Usually it just says node manager above their head, you get into a conversation with them and go to node management. Now you'll find yourself in a map menu. Go to the upper left hand corner of the screen and you will find an option to invest contribution points. If you don't have an option to invest in that particular node, it's probably because it's not connected. Nodes always start at major cities, so from there you need to start activating nodes. Usually you can figure out which nodes you need to activate in order to activate your goal node. But in case you don't know which ones you need to invest in, you can always go to your goal node, click on the node manager, and it will tell you which node you need to connect up first. After you've invested those contribution points, you'll have an additional option to invest energy. This will effectively increase the level of that node, increasing drop rates further. This is better for when you're getting into the higher levels though, as you'll probably be grinding in an area for a longer period of time. It may not make sense for you to invest additional energy into a node unless you're planning on staying there. So unless it's for a job or for grinding, leaving at level 1 is probably going to be okay for now. And if later down the line you don't want a node anymore, always remember that you can uninvest. Which brings us to tip number 7, do more quests. Now this might seem like a no-brainer, but quests are really important, even the boring ones in Black Desert Online. Usually quests will give you contribution points as a reward. aside from your typical quest items, which are pretty powerful. You may be tempted to skip many of them because you want to level quickly, but trust me, by not doing these quests and not talking to people, you're only going to set yourself up for failure later down the line. Because not only do you need contribution points to buy homes and cities, but you also need them to buy workshops, which are necessary for professions. And you will have to choose a profession at some point because there are some things that you cannot buy from vendors or other players. Now, aside from that, quests will also give you inventory expansions. These are super important if you want to be able to carry more stuff on your character and be able to fish longer, or do your other professions longer. And that brings us to tip number 6. Always be sure to check your loot items before you sell them at a vendor. You can find that some items will actually be able to be sold for higher prices and in certain quantities to certain vendors. To find that out, simply hover over the item in your inventory and it will tell you where you need to sell that to make the most money. Also, make sure that you're not selling any green items or above in rarity to vendors because you're going to be losing money. Instead, put that on the marketplace and watch the cash roll in. And in case you're wondering, you can tell an item's rarity by the highlighted border that goes around the item. If it's white, it's common. If it's green, it's good. If it's blue, it's very good. If it's yellow, it's epic. And finally, if it's orange, that means it is legendary. Tip number 5, utilize your AFK time. Black Desert Online is probably one of the most AFK or away from keyboard friendly games that I have ever seen. Stuff like fishing or increasing your stamina can be done while you're away from the keyboard. To do this, simply take out a fishing pole, go over to a pond, and let it auto-fish, and you'll gain a fishing experience while you're away until your inventory is full or until your fishing pole is broken. You can also increase your stamina while you're away by letting your character run from one location to another. You can apply the same concept to increasing your strength. All you have to do is go to a trader and get a trade item and have your character walk from one city to another, preferably at a very long distance. To enable auto run, all you have to do is go to your map menu by hitting M, go to the place far away that you want to go on the map and right click, exit the map and press T. Your character will begin to auto run or auto walk to that location. Now in the Korean version, you could actually set your character to walk in loops. Unfortunately, that was removed from the North American version after the closed beta test 2. So no luck on that, guys. Tip number 4, buy yourself a home. Now you might not be very interested in homes for their aesthetic purposes. However, they do have a functional purpose in that they have certain items that you can have as furniture that will give you stat buffs. You'll also need them to perform cooking or alchemy, as you'll need to install stations in your home, and you can recover your energy much more quickly by just laying down in your bed. Tip number 3, run more. As I said earlier, running increases your stamina over time. You can check your progress by hitting the P button in game, and that will bring up your character info. On the right hand side, you'll see 3 bars, one for breath, one for your strength, and one for your health. Running actually increases the top one, breath, and that has a role in your ability to sprint for longer periods of time, as well as perform certain actions and skills unique to your character for durations of time. So this can be an important stat for you in PvP and PvE, as well as running away really fast if you get in a hairy situation. Tip number 2, pay attention to the name of your gear. In Black Desert Online, there are named gear sets. The more you have of that particular set, the more stats will be imparted from that set to your character. For example, the Agerian set. At 1 item, you're increasing your stun and stiffness resistance. At 2 pieces, your max health is increased, and at 3 pieces, your attack speed and casting speed are both increased by 2. And this can have a real effect on both player versus player, as well as player versus environment. You may be inclined to sell these things earlier in the game because you think they're low-level items, but in Black Desert Online, there's no such thing. A level 56's equipment that are all plus 17 could actually be equipped by a level 1. And it could actually be the same Agerian set that I've been describing. So don't throw those away, save them, and don't be afraid to invest in them. Now, I'm not going to be covering in this video what set is best for what class, and that is actually a little bit up in the air on your play style, so you may have to play around with which set feels best for you. And that brings us to tip number 1. Now you may be thinking, wait a second, some of these tips seem more important than others. Why are they 10 through 1 like this? Like they're more important than one another. I never told you they were, haha, but tip number 1 is actually very important. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Take your time. Unlike many other MMOs, Black Desert Online is not about leveling quickly. It's not even about being the maximum level, because if you get to that max level and you've done it really fast, you're probably not actually that powerful. You've not run enough, you've not done enough of your profession, so you're not going to even be that wealthy. These are all issues that will come into play later. By taking your time, you're going to have more energy, more contribution points, more of your profession invested into, and as a result, you're going to be rich. And we've all heard the phrase, money is power. Well, that still holds true in Black Desert Online. If you found this video helpful or just entertaining, let me know in the comments section and give me a thumbs up. Also let me know if you'd like to see more content on Black Desert Online. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.